There are small fortunes hiding deep within the closets, attics, and basements of America. And if you follow my videos and my blog posts, you know I love sharing these kind of things with you. So here's today's list of those things that you should put in your memory bank. And I often repeat myself with some of these, but it's with the hope that some of these strange and not so strange genres stick with you. Because I think there's a lot, and plus, hey, this one I guarantee you there's a lot of new ones. So I'm gonna give you 20 today. So let's just say 20 for 21. I'm just gonna get started. Vintage computers. Many of the early computers have value today, but keep your eyes peeled in particular for early Apple computers. Did you know a first generation Apple recently sold for $900,000? 1976 is by no means an antique, but you'll quickly learn its supply and demand. Not many of these survived, and there's a lot of demand out there for this kind of nostalgia. Bonus points for the old pieces if they're in working order. Antique musical instruments. That old sax in your attic could really blow out some big bucks, especially if it's the right model. Vintage guitars, banjos, mandolins have made people small fortunes, or at least paid off a credit card or two when they were sold to the highest bidder. In the last 6 months, I've seen a Selmer sax bring $4,000, a 1962 Fender P-Bass bring 10 grand, and an old mandolin bring like $4,400, just to give you an idea. And no, these were not signed or owned by anybody famous. Old perfume bottles. It's not the perfume, it's the bottle. Many people don't know there are actually auctions devoted just to perfume bottles. I often advise estate planners and families who are in transition not to throw anything away until a professional arrives. When explaining why not to toss anything, perfume bottles is one of those examples I use. There's another one in here too, but this little gem brought $30,000. Land deeds. What? Yeah. As land passed through generations, you may be surprised to learn that it might have passed through the hands of someone notable, and they had signed on it. So other ephemera such as war commissions, even as recent as World War II, can be really valuable. You're just looking for a notable individual in its lineage or in its provenance. Perhaps a well-known general, etc. Anyway, just look. If you don't know, Google the names. It really helps. This one turned out to have Daniel Boone's signature on it and $12,000 at an auction. Barbie. You or your sister's old dolls might just pay for your kids' college. That's if you have the right ones, of course. Your early Barbies and even some of her outfits can have considerable value. Maybe you were a weird kid and collected Blythe dolls. You might just want to have a look because this one's an easy $5,000 plus. Costume jewelry. It's not just about your gold and your diamonds. Costume jewelry can be worth as much or more depending on the maker. There are plenty of makers out there to know and look for. Miriam Haskell, Eisenberg, Weiss, Trifari, Napier, and on and on. There's great books out there. I'll have a link to one down in the bottom. This set of Haskell just brought $2,400. Not bad for some glass and rhinestones. First edition books, and I quote, "Old books and records are the scratch-off lottery tickets." That's a very famous person that once said, oh, that's me. Anyway, seriously, if you have a first edition of a popular book, you might just be in luck. How about this $120,000 Harry Potter book? Signed yearbooks. Did your parents or grandparents go to school with someone famous? Did they sign their yearbook? Here's an example. Barack Obama's 5th grade yearbook, inscribed and signed, just sold for $6,000. You get the idea? Paintings. If you ever find yourself with a painting and you don't know anything about it, please make sure you do a little digging first. I can't tell you how many artists are out there that are worth money, perhaps several thousand, that they're just not household names and they're worth a small fortune. And no one knows all of them. You must do a little investigation. It's required. Take a look at this. Do you know who Zhang DeQuinn is? I'm probably butchering his name, but he's $27,500. That's who he is. Antique banks. Your still and mechanical toy banks from the first part of the 20th century might be quite valuable. Typically cast iron and painted, the real deal can really cash out. This circa 1890 Harlequin bank just fetched $90,000. You just have to know the real deal. Lamp bases. And yes, I'm serious, just the lone base can command big bucks if you have the right maker. Obviously, it's better if you have the original shade too, but never discount just a base. Look for a signature. This one just sold for $14,000 with no shade. Old pens. Pens and a few others on today's list are those junk drawer scores, and I talk about them often. A lot more common than, say, an old cast iron bank laying around your house, because pens are everywhere, but you gotta know what to look for. Not just any old fountain pen is worth money, but the brands like Parker, Wall, Mont Blanc, there's a lot to learn. They might be a big score. Check this one out. This Namiki fountain pen just brought $17,000. That'll write a lot of checks. Postcards. Again, not every postcard is worth money, but there are several topical subjects and holiday-specific cards that command big bucks. I always look for Halloween and photographic cards when I'm sorting through an estate collection. Like this Harry Houdini postcard just sold for $425, so I hope you get the idea there. Antique Christmas ornaments. It doesn't matter the time of year, I'm just telling you, a lot of people have old ornaments in storage, and some of these old ones might shock you. The early German Kugel ornaments, and there's so many other hand-blown glass ornaments. This ornament brought $18,000. Get the idea? Vintage toasters. What? Yes. I mentioned this in a recent video and got a million questions. Toasters, I know you're thinking I'm nuts, but there's even collectors associations for toasters, so don't just discount your old appliances without having a look. This collection of 6 just sold at auction for $8,000. That's 6 toasters. Here's another weird one, vintage vacuums. And just like toasters, old computers, and pens, someone collects everything, so why not vacuum cleaners? This Singer Deluxe from 1938 just brought $1,600. Autograph books. Always check out the front few pages of your old books. You never know if someone in the family didn't get it signed by the author. And it doesn't have to be a rare first edition if it's signed by the right author, and it could be worth a few bucks. Walt Disney's autograph in The Art of Animation just meant $20,000. Baseball cards. Typically in baseball cards, the big bucks are the pre-1960s, but you know, lately all bets are off. A 1971 baseball set like this just realized $14,000, and there are so many records being broken these days. Firecracker packages. Yeah, this is one that always surprises my friends. There's actually collector societies specifically for firecracker packages. It's really the art of the wrapper and the package that seems to drive demand. This pack just sold for $1,200 at auction. Silver flatware. The flatware is one that often surprises people. The fancy set in a closet you never use because you don't want to polish it. You might know it's valuable, but you've never really given the how much a thought. You just know that mom said it was worth money. When you find out the potential cash that's just sitting there, you might sell it. This set just sold for $30,000. You want that laying around your closet? Louis Vuitton trunks. And I'm talking these old steamers. Always look for a signature or the maker, because you might be surprised. You might have had one of these and never noticed it because you didn't look at the label. If you have an old Louis Vuitton travel trunk like this, you might be pleasantly surprised. You know, this one's circa 1920, so again, these can be sitting in your attic and passed down and no one realized what it was. This just sold for $15,000. I hope all or some of these stoke your fire to go through your storage spots and clean house. Or maybe, just maybe, my channel is going to turn you into a picker if you aren't already one. Because knowledge is power, and it could be a few bucks in these lean times. It also happens to be a lot of fun. I'm Josh Levine, and you are watching Josh Levine Speaks. Please subscribe to my channel today because it's free and you might have a good time learning something. Until we stream again, my friends.